Healing, VRMMO started for relaxation somehow made me the strongest. Prologue. The campfire user who subdues calamity. The earth split open and the sky trembled as if in a fit of rage. This was the final phase of the Abyss Frontier, the largest official event in the game Everdawn Online. The end was drawing near. The event field, known as the Rift of the Boundary, was now engulfed in flames, and black smoke completely devastated. Temples had collapsed and forests were burning while a rain of miasma poured from the sky. The once beautiful land of fantasy was now infested by the miasma of another world and had turned into a literal hell.
It is no use. The front line cannot hold any longer. Healers, where is the support?
My MP is empty. I cannot recast in time.
Damn it, that boss has been acting way too strange since it entered the second phase.
The screams of players began to flood the global chat, one after another. The boss known as Veritas, Lord of the Otherworld, had entered a rampage phase that surpassed all predicted attack patterns. Even the main party of the top guild wings of Radiant Light was falling one by one. Resurrections could not keep up, the tanks were being crushed, and the back line was being incinerated by area of effect magic. The Vanguard was on the verge of total collapse.
Someone just one more hit! If only we could shave off the last of its health!
The player who shouted that was swallowed by a wave of miasma, and his logout notification appeared. The number of active players had already been cut in half. Even the NPC entrusted with the final line of defense, Karis, the gatekeeper of the world, had less than 10% of his durability remaining. At this rate, the gate to the other world would open completely, and the world of Everdawn Online would be destroyed by the event. Everyone understood that there was no hope left on this battlefield. It was then that a single shadow appeared atop the roof of a crumbling ancient tower beyond the fire and smoke. Even from a distance, Yuu stood out clearly. It was an avatar that no one had ever seen before. Yuu wore no flashy equipment and possessed no glowing titles. Yuu was simply dressed in light travel gear with a hood covering half of his face, and perched on Yuu's shoulder was a small silver dragon sitting there like a kitten.
Who is that guy? Is he a new player? No way a newbie could get this far.
Wait, I have seen that little dragon on his shoulder before it was on the message boards. Is that the camping uncle? No way, is it really him?
A wave of shock spread instantly. Players finally began to realize that the man was named Yuu. Yuu never appeared on the rankings, never participated in PvP, and did not belong to any guild. Yuu was a mysterious player who did nothing but post screenshots of campfires and camping food. The man everyone thought was just a casual role player had now appeared on the battlefield of ruin. Then, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, entities began to emerge from the forest behind Yuu. First, a silver-fanged beast clad in lightning burst from the earth. Next, a massive wooden giant stepped forward, followed by a golden spirit bird descending from the sky, a black snake wrapped in dark mist, a twin-horned beast covered in rock, a cat monster with an icy tail, and a demonic butterfly spreading poisonous wings. These were all unique, rare monsters that no one had ever been able to tame before. Now they gathered around the master of the campfire and stood in a silent, orderly line.
Are you kidding me? Are they really all his?
A moment after, someone muttered in daze, the silver baby dragon named Lu on Yuu's shoulder took flight. The moment its wings spread, the air itself trembled. Lightning, fire, water, and wind mixed with light and darkness flashed across its scales. The small body of the dragon was enveloped in light, but it was not an evolution or a transformation. While remaining a juvenile, the very laws of the world seemed to dwell within its form.
That baby dragon is it, possibly? You have got to be kidding me! Is that the legendary dragon that was not even obtainable as a boss drop?
As everyone watched with bated breath, a system log appeared on the screen.
Recognition change flag established. The individual accompanied by player Yuu has been identified as Lu, the dragon of all creation. Everdawn Core has detected an unexpected inheritance flag, transitioning to the next phase.
Silence dominated the battlefield.
Is that really the dragon of all creation?
No, it was only a juvenile, but even a glimpse of its power made the world shake.
The dragon of all creation, but that was supposed to be event only.
The shouting turned to confusion and then to fear. The administrators had once stated that the dragon of all creation was an existence that players were never meant to defeat. And now that being was sitting on a player's shoulder.
Wait, it is just a baby, a hatchling. Look at the attributes: light, dark, lightning, ice, fire, and wind. It has everything. It looks like the dragon is actually attached to him. Just who is that guy?
The chat was in an uproar as over 100 monsters appeared from behind. Yuu. It was an overwhelming force of unique named individuals. It was an army led by a single human.
This is a joke, right? Is he some kind of event character planted by the management?
If he is an NPC, then why is his name just you?
The high-level players at the front were speechless because they knew that while taming existed, no player should be able to lead this many unique monsters. Yuu, with the baby dragon on his shoulder, simply looked over the battlefield in silence. The boss VRMMO seemed to sense the pressure and shrunk its magic power as if taking a defensive stance.
All right, let us go.
That was all Yuu said. With those words, the monsters moved. Lightning wolves ran across the ground while the giant roared and smashed the earth with its fists. Spirit birds in the sky chanted spells and fired arrows of wind. Dark snakes pierced through enemy lines and poisonous butterflies spread miasma. It was a march of calamity, but it was not chaotic. Every single monster moved with a clear will as if protecting someone and creating openings for others. Then, Lu let out a roar toward the sky. It was a signal that caused the magic power of all the monsters to resonate. Wind and fire overlapped to create explosions while ice and lightning pierced the enemy. Earth and darkness fused to send cursed stakes flying from the ground. This was beyond the level of simple skill chains. The power of the monsters was being crystallized into a single will through Yuu as a medium.
What on earth is that? That is not a player!
What is going on with this game?
Eventually, the Lord of the Otherworld VRMMO was surrounded by Yuu's army, and the tyrant fell to its knees. It was a feat no other player had achieved, but Yuu did not even launch a finishing blow. Instead, Lu leaped from Yuu's shoulder and fired a massive mass of magic power. A silver light pierced through everything, and the world was enveloped in brilliance. Light and wind swirled across the battlefield. Burnish the firewolf charged with a trail of flames, while Zelkro the stormbird flew with lightning. The massive Morgus supported a crumbling fortress wall to protect the other players. Everyone realized these creatures were not moving because of a command, but because they wanted to help someone.
It is incredible! It is like they have their own will!
They do have a will. It must be the bond they formed around that man's campfire.
In the center of the screen, a single man was quietly tending to a fire. Yuu did not draw a sword or use magic, he just kept the campfire lit. Yet that fire was the heart of the entire battlefield. A small pot sat over the fire on the scorched ground. The scent of meat and herbs drifted on the wind, and the monsters nearby glanced toward it.
Okay, today's portion is ready, come and eat.
Lu chirped energetically and landed near the fire. The monsters that had been nearby naturally formed a line to get their food. The high-level player known as Crave the Lightning Blade approached Yuu with a wry smile.
Hey, can I ask you something?
What is it?
Who or what exactly are you?
After a moment of silence, Yuu laughed casually.
I am just an office worker who likes camping.
Everyone present was lost for words, but they felt there was no lie in Yuu's answer. While everyone else fought with blood and sweat, this man had simply sat by a fire and befriended monsters that were impossible to tame. In the distance, the boss VRMMO finally collapsed and went silent.
The official event Abyss Frontier has been cleared due to unique event conditions. Player Yuu has achieved resonance with the core of the Abyss Army. Unexpected flag established. Everdawn Core is moving to the next phase.
The world had changed and the fire continued to burn quietly. The silver dragon hopped back onto Yuu's shoulder with pride in its eyes.
Lu, it was a good camp today too, wasn't it?
The story goes back to the first night that campfire was lit. It all began the moment a man wished he could just go camping. Chapter 1. Beginning of the campfire and the encounter with the baby dragon. Episode 1. To a world with a campfire. It was already past midnight when Saeki Yuu left his office building. The city was still full of lights, but no light reached Yuu's heart. Yuu wondered how many calls he had taken and how many documents he had edited today. His life was a cycle of coming home on the last train, eating cold convenience store food and sleeping. Then, one day, Yuu received a message from his younger sister.
Hey, big brother! Why don't you try playing a VRMMO?
What?
It is a game called Everdawn Online. The official service just started, but I have an extra beta tester account.
Why are you giving it to me?
You can go camping in it. There are forests and rivers, and the campfires are more realistic than the real world. You can survive without interacting with other people if you want.
Those words moved Yuu's heart.
You can really camp.
Yeah, you can even level up your skills just by making a fire and cooking meat.
Yu imagined himself spending time quietly by a fire in a night forest.
I will give it a try.
That is rare for you to be interested. I will send you the account info.
The next day after finishing work, Yu set up his VR equipment and started the character creation.
Welcome to Everdawn Online. Beginning character creation.
For the name, I will go with you.
Yu chose the human race and a male gender. Yu gave himself silver ash hair and amber eyes with a somewhat tired look. Yu chose to have no starting profession, which allowed his skills to grow freely based on his actions.
I do not care about stats. I just want to go camping.
Yu selected yes on the login screen and his consciousness floated away into the game world. Yu found himself standing in the middle of a vast grassland with a clear blue sky.
This is amazing.
Yu checked his starter bag and found a water skin, some hard bread, and raw rabbit meat.
Please head to the village to receive quests.
I do not need towns or crowds. I just want to see a campfire in the woods.
Yu ignored the log and walked toward the forest instead. Yu avoided the busy village where players were gathering and found a path not listed on the map. Yu eventually found a perfect camping spot with fallen leaves and a nearby stream.
Skill firemaking level 1 acquired.
I did it.
Yu set up a campfire and lit the dry branches he had gathered. The sound of the flames and the heat felt incredibly real and healing.
This is exactly what I wanted to do.
As Yu sat there, he felt his stress melting away. Suddenly, the bushes nearby rustled, and Yu saw a small presence watching him. It was a tiny creature with silver scales and big round eyes that could not fly yet.
What is that?
Episode 2. Roasted meat, the baby dragon, and inside the hood. The sound of the campfire was crackling pleasantly. Yu skewered the rabbit meat and roasted it over the flames until it smelled delicious.
This looks better than real food.
Skill cooking level 2 has increased.
Yu noticed the bushes rustling again, and the silver dragon from before appeared. The dragon was about 50 centimeters long, with scales that shined like metal and red eyes. It did not seem hostile. It just sniffed the air and approached the fire slowly.
Do you want to eat?
Yu placed a piece of meat on a leaf, and the dragon ate it up happily. After finishing its meal, the dragon walked over and sat down by Yu's feet. Then the dragon climbed up Yu's back and tucked itself into his hood.
Hey, wait a minute.
The dragon let out a satisfied chirp and curled up inside the hood.
Did you take a liking to me?
Yu could feel the warmth and breathing of the dragon against his back. Yu hoped this was not a bug. Normally you need skills and items to tame a monster in this game, but Yu had done none of that.
I was just roasting meat.
Yu checked his logs, but there was no notification of a successful tame or a new party member. As night fell, Yu laid out his sleeping bag by the fire, and the dragon curled up on Yu's chest.
Do you have a name?
The dragon flicked its ear at Yu's voice.
How about Lou?
The dragon let out a small snort and pressed its cheek against Yu's chest.
I guess that is a yes.
The next morning, Yu woke up feeling refreshed as if he had actually slept in real life.
I feel so well rested. Wait, something is on me.
Lou was sleeping on Yu's chest with its head tucked against his neck.
Good morning, Lou.
The dragon chirped in response. Yu began preparing breakfast and Lou watched the meat with interest.
I guess it is okay if we stay together here.
Yu had a quiet forest, a warm fire, and a mysterious baby dragon.
I hope we can just spend our time like this without anyone bothering us.
Lou licked Yu's cheek as if to say, I am right here with you. Chapter 3. The hatchling, camping, and the bulletin board. The morning sun filtered into the forest, and the tips of the leaves were wet with dew. Yu took a deep breath as Yu washed Yu's face with water from the stream. Yu could smell the grass, the soil, and the scent of cold water. The morning forest was incredibly quiet and felt profoundly full. The baby dragon Yu had slept with last night. Lou was already awake. Lou was poking Lou's head out of Yu's equipment bag. Lou's red eyes sparkled as Lou spread Lou's small wings to soak in the morning light.
Where in the world did you actually come from?
Yu rebuilt the campfire and began roasting the remaining rabbit meat. Lou sat on Yu's lap and stared intently at the meat as it cooked. As the savory aroma drifted through the air, Lou's nose twitched.
Wait a bit, it is still too hot.
Lou's ears flicked at Yu's words, but Lou waited patiently. Lou acted a bit like a dog and a bit like a cat at the same time. Once the meat had cooled down, Yu placed it on a leaf and offered it to Lou. Lou straightened Lou's posture and then took a bite. Watching Lou chew made Yu feel a strange sensation. Yuu wondered once again if this was truly just a game.
Camping really is the best.
After finishing breakfast, Yuu decided to take a short walk through the forest. Yuu did not have a specific goal in mind. Yuu mostly gathered dry branches for the fire and looked for edible fruit. Lu jumped up onto Yuu's shoulder and followed along, balancing herself perfectly.
You are surprisingly skillful at that.
Lu wagged Lu's tail proudly in response. Yuu carefully observed some mushrooms Yuu found at the base of a tree. Yuu opened Yuu's status display, which showed them as non-toxic and edible.
Oh, I can roast and eat these.
After putting Yuu's small harvest into Yuu's bag, Yuu looked up and saw Lu. Lu was trying to climb a tree all by herself. Lu hooked Lu's front claws and kicked off the ground with Lu's back legs. Lu's small wings flapped frantically as Lu slowly scrambled upward.
Do not overdo it.
Lu lost Lu's footing halfway up and fell right onto Yuu's chest with a soft thud.
Haha, I guess you cannot fly just yet.
Lu clung to Yuu's arm and let out a short, frustrated chirp.
It is okay. The day will come when you can fly.
Yuu sat down in the shade of a tree and patted Lu's head. Yuu took a cloth out of Yuu's bag and spread it out as a simple mat. Yuu felt the soft earth, the grass, and the sunlight filtering through the leaves. Yuu just stared blankly at the remains of Yuu's old campfire.
It is so calming here, even though there is absolutely nothing going on.
Lu curled up on Yuu's lap again and closed Lu's eyes. Meanwhile, back at the adventurer bulletin board in the starter village, a strange thread had been posted on the terminal. The title read breaking news. I saw a player with a dragon near the starter village.
I saw a player with a tiny silver thing on his shoulder. It had wings and scales. It used fire. That was definitely a dragon.
That is a total lie. Dragons do not spawn near the starter village. You were probably just drinking at the tavern again.
No, I saw it too. It was on the shoulder of a guy roasting meat. Well, I'm not sure if it was a dragon, but it looked like one. Roasting meat over a campfire. Who does that for roleplay? Also, that dragon was hiding inside his hood.
I took a picture, check the link. It is a bit far away, but there is definitely something on his shoulder.
There was no tame display visible. Maybe he has a camping skill build. Or maybe it is a test unit distributed by the developers.
The Dragon Tamer has arrived. Is he the strongest healing type player?
I am so jealous! I want a shoulder dragon too!
The thread gained momentum instantly and spread to social media and video sites. Everyone was talking about the man with the fire and the dragon. But Yuu knew nothing about any of this. Yuu was busy napping in the forest shade with Lu. There was the sound of light breathing and a small weight on Yuu's chest. It was a peaceful afternoon that no one else knew about. Chapter 4. The Sister's Perspective. Big Brother Beyond the Campfire. It was morning in the kitchen. There was the sound of a toaster and milk being poured into a mug. Saeki sat by the sunny window looking at her phone.
Really is going viral.
Sarah was scrolling through the Everdawn Online user forums. The most active thread was about the man with the silver dragon. The comments mentioned a man roasting meat and living deep in the forest. The comments said Yuu never talks to anyone and just lives in the woods. Sarah looked at a blurry screenshot on her screen and sighed.
Couldn't be.
But deep down, Sarah was certain. The player named Yuu was Sarah's own older brother. Sarah's brother had been exhausted for a very long time. Yuu always had dark circles under his eyes and barely spoke. Even on Yuu's rare days off, Yuu just spent them with no energy. Since graduating and getting a job, Yuu always seemed busy. Sarah had not seen Yuu look like he was having fun even once. When Yuu was a student, Yuu used to laugh much more. Whenever Yuu had a break, Yuu would go mountain climbing or camping. But since becoming a working adult, that had all stopped.
I do not even have the energy to go camping anymore.
Those words Yuu muttered one night had stayed stuck in Sarah's heart. That was why Sarah gave Yuu the extra account from the beta test. Sarah knew this game was not just about fighting. A player could survive using only life skills. Yuu could make fires, set up tents, and go fishing. Most importantly, Yuu could be alone in nature away from people. Sarah thought it was the place Sarah's brother needed most right now.
You do not have to worry about leveling up. Just going camping might help you heal a little bit.
Sarah had said that while acting casual, but Sarah had been praying. Sarah hoped that even if it was only in a game, Yuu could smile again.
Wonder if this was the right choice.
At the breakfast table, Sarah looked back at the phone. People were speculating that Yuu was an admin or a special NPC.
You are all wrong. That is just my big brother.
Saying it out loud made Sarah feel a little bit warmer inside. Sarah put the phone down and looked out the window.
Hey, big brother! What kind of face are you making right now?
Sarah imagined Yuu sitting by a fire with a relaxed expression, and Sarah knew that little dragon would be there too. Lu was likely curled up and sleeping inside Yuu's hood. If that world provided the peace Yuu could not find in reality.
Then I suppose I can handle being a little worried about him.
Chapter 5. I did not intend to fight. The morning forest was a little warmer than the day before. Yuu stood by the river with a handmade fishing rod. Yuu's bait was just a piece of a mushroom. Yuu was not sure if Yuu would catch anything, but the act was calming. Lu was curled up on Yuu's lap, slowly wagging Lu's tail.
It is so peaceful today.
It had been so quiet for the last few days that it felt almost strange. The river was far enough from Yuu's base to stay quiet and clear. Yuu saw a small fish shadow moving near the water plants.
All right.
Yuu hooked a small river fish that had beautiful silver scales. Yuu thought Yuu will try roasting this today. Yuu was in total slow life mode and did not care about combat. But then Yuu heard a bouncing sound coming from the forest. A transparent slime appeared from the edge of Yuu's vision.
A slime.
More of the jelly-like monsters began to appear one after another. There were 5, then 6, then 7 of them.
Wait a minute. Why are they in a pack like this?
Slimes were usually weak monsters that acted alone. But Yuu had heard this game had an AI that learned from players. Lu jumped off Yuu's lap and stood in front of Yuu. Lu's small body tensed as Lu narrowed Lu's red eyes.
Hey Lu, stop it. Let us just run away. I have 0 combat skills. Okay.
But Lu did not back down. The slimes surrounded Yuu, leaving Yuu no room to retreat to the river.
Are you serious? I really do not want to respawn right now.
Suddenly, Lu's body began to emit a faint light. The wind died down and the air itself seemed to vibrate. Lu's red eyes glowed intensely and the ground shook. A massive pillar of fire erupted from Lu's mouth. It was a dragon breath, but it branched out in multiple directions. It evaporated the entire pack of slimes in a single instant. Smoke and steam filled the forest, and the slimes were gone. The only thing left was the smell of burnt grass. Yuu could not process what Yuu had just seen. Lu turned around as if nothing had happened and walked back to Yuu.
Pee!
Lu chirped and hugged Yuu's leg.
Wait a second. What in the world was that?
Lu looked like a spoiled baby dragon, but that power was insane. Yuu noticed there were not even any battle logs in Yuu's window. Yuu's screen showed no experience points and no skill history. There was just a scorched patch of forest where the monsters were.
Who are you really?
Lu did not answer, but Lu rested Lu's head against Yuu's chest. Yuu could feel Lu's warmth and Lu's heartbeat. Lu let out a sweet chirp that sounded like Lu was saying, "I love you." That night, the internet was once again in an uproar. Eyewitnesses reported a player with a silver dragon clearing slimes. People suspected a bug, a cheat, or a secret developer event, but the person responsible was fast asleep with his dragon. Chapter 6. Management Perspective. Unidentified event report code Silver Dragon. At the Everdawn Online Operations headquarters in a certain part of Tokyo, in the game master room with a sterile floor and dozens of monitors, several staff members worked quietly.
Hey, isn't this strange?
Kawaguchi, one of the assistant game masters peering into a monitor, raised Kawaguchi's voice.
What is it?
There are no combat logs, but the slimes in the area have completely vanished, and it happened within a single frame. Multiple units were wiped out at the same time.
The staff member next to Kawaguchi started to ask if it was a bug, but Kawaguchi shook Kawaguchi's head.
No, if it were just that, it could be a log extraction error, but these coordinates match the man with the silver dragon on his shoulder from the forums.
The other staff member's hands stopped moving immediately.
Wait, I thought that was just an urban legend.
The bulletin board thread is already up to part 15. Videos are being uploaded too. They are tagged with Silver Dragon by the campfire.
Kawaguchi quickly accessed the server monitoring tools and pulled up the target account's login info.
Username is Yuu, Lifestyle Skills Specialist. Combat skills are 0. Level is at the initial starting point.
For real? Then who defeated the slimes?
I do not know. The log says no spontaneous action skills were used. The only thing showing up is an elemental magic reaction from a nearby non-player object.
A non-player object. You mean that hatchling on his shoulder. So, do we have data on that hatchling?
Kawaguchi switched monitors with a bitter expression.
No, that's the problem. The ID does not exist.
Does not exist. What does that mean? Is it not a pet owned by the user?
Normally, yes, but there is no taming log for this individual. In the management database, there is no registered model for the same lineage, let alone a similar species.
Hey now. Even naturally generated monsters should have at least some basic tag data, right?
That is why it is strange. It looks like a dragon species with silver scales. It has elemental action reactions and signs of what looks like a stealth skill. But it is not on the rare enemy list, and it does not match any event or Game Master distribution slots.
So it is something no one knows about.
A heavy silence fell over the room. Eventually, Kamiya, a senior game master operating another terminal, spoke in a calm voice.
Assign it a provisional code. Observation target R-Class Alpha 1. Player Yuu and the accompanying individual are now designated as singular observation targets. Avoid excessive interference. Prioritize the user experience and continue log collection carefully.
Understood.
Kawaguchi immediately recorded the instructions. Meanwhile, Kamiya briefly looked at a window showing the inaccessible area deep within the server room.
I doubt it, but I wonder if it is the Everdawn core region.
Another game master muttered quietly beside Kamiya.
What we manage is only the surface game structure, but the core layer, the Everdawn core, is different. It is an area where a self-growing AI repeats environmental reactions to create unique ecosystems and existences. We cannot control everything with code. It is, so to speak, the will of the world itself.
So, the Silver Dragon is something the Everdawn core needed.
That is right. And the one who found it first was you. It is possible. This world was built assuming such miracles would happen. Elements not created by humans are born from the AI and found by someone.
Did player Yuu just happen to pull that winning ticket by chance?
Whether it was chance or necessity, we will find out by watching.
Chapter 7. Spoons, grilled meat, and a silver tail. Yuu was assembling something while looking down at the remains of Yuu's riverside campfire. In Yuu's hands were a piece of wood. Yuu was carving in a scorched stone. A handmade craft tool window floated softly in front of Yuu.
All right. Is it something like this?
Yuu added a curve to the long, thin piece of wood. For a first attempt, it did not look completely unlike a spoon. Everdawn Online has surprisingly detailed lifestyle crafting features. Even just carving wood causes skill experience to increase bit by bit. However, in this world, making even a single spoon requires tools and patience.
At skill level 1, I fail an awful lot.
Several broken pieces of wood and overcarved failures were scattered at Yuu's feet.
Well, it is a good way to pass the time while watching the fire.
The embers of the campfire flickered between the stones. Yuu was currently roasting the small fish Yuu had caught the day before on a skewer. Next to Yuu, Lu poked Lu's head out from Yuu's hood. Lu was a tiny silver dragon with red eyes that blinked in the smoke.
I guess you really are interested in this.
Yuu laughed. Lu let out a short chirp. Lu was still just a child, but Lu was likely an extraordinary being. Yuu remembered the fire pillar magic that had wiped out the slimes yesterday. However, Lu did not seem aware of Lu's power and acted spoiled after the battle. Yuu still suspected that Yuu might be dreaming.
At least mealtime feels like reality.
The sound of the fish roasting and the aroma of the fat filled the air. In every way, it was a perfect camping morning.
Okay, the spoon is done. Next is a grill, I guess.
Yuu stood up and began sorting through twigs Yuu found along the river. In this game, the quality and processing method determine the performance of the finished product. Even a simple wooden stick can have hidden parameters like easy to process. Yuu looked at the branches for a while, selected a few, and began carving them.
Haha, this feels a bit like a science project.
Yuu tied them with thin vines and used stones to secure the legs. Yuu adjusted the positions over and over so the whole thing would not be lopsided.
Oh, it is starting to look like something.
Yuu finished a crude wooden grill that could be placed over the campfire. The craft window displayed it as a crude wooden grill with a small cooking bonus.
Not bad for a first-time craft.
Cute, cute,
Lu jumped onto Yu's lap, Lu's tail moving faster than usual.
What is it? Are you hungry?
Yu tried placing a fillet of fish onto the wooden grill. The fat sizzled and a savory aroma filled the air.
Your eyes look like a wild beast right now.
Lu's eyes sparkled and Lu's tail wagged rapidly from side to side. Lu seemed to be pleading with Lu's whole body to eat it.
All right, I will splurge a bit today.
Yu took out some wild boar meat Yu had gathered yesterday from Yu's inventory. Yu had scavenged it from a monster Yu found already dead in the woods.
This kind of thing is the charm of lifestyle play.
Yu arranged the thinly sliced meat on the grill. A scent even richer than the fish spread around them.
Oh, this looks pretty good.
Lu jumped onto Yu's shoulder and pushed Lu's face toward the meat. Lu's nose would not stop twitching and Lu's tongue peeked out.
Settle down. Wait until it is cooked. Oh.
A notification window suddenly appeared in Yu's vision. The notification said that Lu had a strong reaction to grilled meat. The item was registered as a favorite and trust increased by 12%. Yu stared at the words in the window for a while.
What? What just happened?
Yu did not know there was a system for favorite items in this game, and there had never been a visible parameter for trust before either.
You really are not just a normal monster, are you?
Ignoring Yu's confusion, Lu was entranced by the sound of the meat cooking. Lu's tail swayed gracefully in circles. Yu tore the cooked meat into small pieces and let them cool for Lu. Lu stuffed Lu's cheeks, narrowed Lu's eyes, and wagged Lu's tail with joy. Lu was undoubtedly a dragon satisfied with a feast.
Was it good?
Lu licked Lu's mouth and chirped happily. Lu crawled into Yu's chest while Lu's tail continued to sway softly.
Hey now, you are going to sleep just because you're full.
Yu smiled wryly at the hatchling curling up on Yu's lap. Yu could feel Lu's body heat through Yu's clothes. When Yu was like this, it really felt like Lu was just a normal pet. But Yu knew that was not true. No name, no status, and no skill information appeared for Lu. Lu did not even appear in the combat records, yet Lu was powerful. Perhaps this hatchling was an accident born from this world that no developer intended. A combination of miraculous probability, Yu's own choices, and Yu just being there.
Well, I am kind of a miracle myself, starting with zero intent to fight.
Yu stared blankly at the flames of the campfire. It was quiet and the wind was a bit cold, but having the silver dragon next to Yu made Yu feel wonderfully comfortable. It was a feeling Yu had forgotten in reality. Just having someone by Yu's side was so warm. Only the sound of the campfire echoed through the forest. Lu was fast asleep, and Yu thought to himself as Yu stroked Lu, "The noise of the workplace and the moods of the clients feel so trivial now." In reality, Yu was just an ordinary salaryman who hated Yu's routine. Yu had escaped into this game because Yu wanted peace. The path for a normal player is to fight and level up, yet Yu builds fires, roasts meat, and sleeps with a dragon.
For me, I suppose this is the right answer.
Saying it out loud made Yu's chest feel a little lighter. A notification window appeared in Yu's vision. It said that for staying near a campfire, Yu earned the title Camper. It provided a recovery speed bonus and unlocked the applied cooking skill.
I actually got a title for this.
Yu let out a laugh that soon turned into a quiet smile. The wind was cool and the fire gave off warmth.
Good night, Lu.
Yu closed Yu's eyes. The night was deep and the game world continued to turn, but Yu had Yu's own place and Yu's own time right here. The spoon, the grilled meat, and the silver dragon taught Yu something. They taught Yu that this was a world where Yu felt it was okay to be alive. Chapter 8. The First Village. When Yu stepped out of the forest, Yu's view opened up suddenly. The wind blowing across the plains felt good, and Yu stretched.
All right, I think I will head to the starter village today.
Yu had been camping for days and was lacking salt and seasoning. Yu also wanted to get some daily necessities like fishing line.
You will probably get bored of meat without any seasoning eventually.
Lu chirped from Yu's shoulder and spread Lu's small wings.
Do you actually understand what I am saying?
When Yu teased Lu and patted Lu's head, Lu turned Lu's head away. However, Lu's tail was clearly wagging from side to side. After walking for a while, a small stone wall and a wooden gate appeared. It was the Lindor starter village. At the entrance, two non-player character guards were lazily keeping watch. As you approached, one of the male non-player characters widened the guard's eyes when the guards saw Lu.
Hey, look on his shoulder. Is that a dragon? It is tiny, but hey, that cannot be a pet, right?
She is just traveling with me.
I see, I get it.
The non-player character's tone was strangely lifelike, just like a real person.
As long as the dragon does not rampage in the village, it is fine.
Understood. If she looks like she will rampage, I will lure her with meat.
Meat works on it.
She is weak to grilled meat.
The guard looked confused but allowed them to pass. Yu thanked the guard and stepped into the village while stroking Lu. The village was peaceful with wooden houses and non-player character farmers. Children ran around and demi-humans also lived there normally. Yu first went to Marie's general store at the edge of the plaza.
Welcome, traveler. Seasonings are over here and tools are in the back.
Thank you. I need salt, a herb spice mix, fishing line, and storage bags.
You bought everything you wanted with currency from selling materials.
You are a bit different from the usual adventurers. There is a hill to the north where fragrant herbs grow. I recommend it if you are using them for cooking.
Thanks. I will check it out sometime.
Yu was surprised that Marie gave you such helpful information.
Anyway, that little one on your shoulder is quite cute.
Yu looked down and saw Lu sniffing the spice jars on the shelf.
Hey, do not play with those. I will get a bill if they break.
She is almost like a human child. What is her name?
Lu. She is my traveling partner.
That is a good name. An old man once said he saw a silver dragon flying here. There is a legend that says a silver tail brings good luck.
Yu looked silently at the hatchling behind the shelves. Lu was still innocently rolling a spice jar around. When they left the store, Yu heard the cheers of children.
Wow! A dragon! A tiny dragon! It looks so soft and cute!
The child non-player characters ran over and looked up at Lu. The silver hatchling suddenly jumped into Yu's chest and dove into Yu's hood.
You are so easy to understand.
Yu felt Lu moving around inside the hood, likely overwhelmed by the noise.
Sorry. She is shy around strangers.
In truth, it was not just being shy. This hatchling had chosen Yu and was devoted only to Yu. Suddenly, Yu felt eyes on Yu from several players standing at a distance. They were not looking at Yu, but at what was hidden in Yu's hood. Yu walked away without making eye contact.
Let us go home, Lu.
Ew! Pee!
They left the plains and headed back to the forest.
I will not give you to anyone. Just stay as my partner.
The silver dragon purred in response to Yu's words. Chapter 9. The degree of cooking and the silver tongue. The flames of the campfire swayed brightly in the quiet forest. Yu crouched in front of it and carefully roasted meat on a skewer.
I think it is almost ready.
Yu used a simple wooden skewer and grill Yu made himself. Yu watched the heat carefully as the fat dripped off the meat. Next to Yu, Lu watched the skewer like a food critic.
All right. It is a good color. It should be cooked through today.
Yu removed the skewer and offered a piece to Lu.
Here you go. I am confident in this one.
Lu sniffed it, hesitated for a moment, and then turned Lu's head away.
What?
Yu held Yu's head. Lu was the ultimate grill police. If the center was too red or the surface too burnt, Lu would reject it.
That was much better than the last one.
Yu took the skewer and started the process all over again. Yu's movements became more delicate as Yu focused on every detail. On the third try, the meat was perfectly cooked and juicy.
Try this one.
Lu sniffed carefully and finally took a bite.
Pew! Pee! Pee!
Lu wagged Lu's tail happily and Yu pumped Yu's fists. A log window appeared saying Yu earned the meat roasting proficiency skill.
Are you actually a master teacher?
Lu was happily devouring the meat from the skewer. Yu sat by the fire after they finished eating, feeling content.
This is what I wanted to do.
Yu remembered that Yu came to this world for this silence. Roasting meat by a fire with a small dragon was enough for Yu. Suddenly, Yu heard light footsteps approaching from the trees.
Hello? I saw you in the village. You are the one who likes camping.
It was Marie, the shopkeeper, carrying a basket of herbs.
I smelled the campfire and had to stop by.
Oh, sorry. If I am in the way, I can move.
No, it is fine. Campfire smoke actually helps keep the bugs away.
Marie sat next to Yuu and showed Yuu Marie's basket.
Are those edible?
This Citrera grass reduces the gaminess of meat and smells great.
Oh, so that grows on the northern hill.
Yes, it is most fragrant when the morning dew is still on it.
Yuu looked at Lu and wondered about adding it to Lu's food.
All right, I am going gathering. I will wake up early tomorrow.
As the sun set, Yuu put out the fire and looked at Lu.
You have very expensive taste. Are you more of a gourmet than I am?
Cute, Pickshu!
Lu made a small sneezing sound from inside Yuu's hood.
A sneeze. Did you catch a cold?
Yuu saw a small flower petal was stuck to Lu's back.
I see. Is it pollen?
Even dragons could have an itchy nose in the forest. Yuu patted Lu's head and picked off the petal.
I will use that grass to roast meat for you tomorrow.
Lu curled up and wrapped Lu's tail around Yuu's neck. Pursuing the perfect roast was Yuu's ultimate healing. Yuu would cook again tomorrow to make the meat Lu loved.